How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. The Cincinnati Reds have blessed us with some more good news from the farm system. Encarnacion-Strand will be playing and making his big league debut for the Cincinnati Reds against the Giants. As he has been called up, Kevin Newman has been placed on the IL. Encarnacion-Strand, a guy batting .331 on the season, 20 dingers on the season. He's continued to do what he was doing in spring training, where it's like, was it an outlier? Does he need more time to be ready? Do you want to throw him in there that quickly? It's like, we'll see. I mean, he's been hot since. We're past the All-Star break, and Encarnacion-Strand has done everything and more to prove that he is deserving of a roster spot on this Cincinnati Reds team. A roster spot that was not easy to come by. I think that's part of why it's been like, let's wait this out a little bit. It's like, he's primarily pretty much his entire career played first or third base. You know, they threw him in outfield a couple games this season, but besides that, first or third, we know that's a crowded area for the Reds. You're not taking out De La Cruz, you're not taking out McLean. Then you get the Steer Votto situation, and it's definitely an interesting situation. We'll see how the Reds handle it. Again, you get the DH for a reason. Again, it comes back to, well, Stevenson's just going to have to play more games at catcher is what it comes down to. You know, we've talked about this before. I don't think they can try it. I think we're seeing it more and more recently. Is you can't force guys to play a position they're not used to and expect it to turn out the best all the time. You know, you start to see guys make mistakes. You start to see guys make errors, do things, you know, a normal outfitter wouldn't, because they're not accustomed to the position. But again, you can be optimistic and say that stuff can be learned and adjusted throughout time. They just need to be coached to do this stuff properly, like hitting a cutoff man. Anyway, Encarnacion-Strand, I thought this was a very, very methodical, a very articulate move by the Cincinnati Reds. I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't know if you'd say this was planned out. I think they looked and said, look, you seen what Ellie De La Cruz did when he came up. You seen the impact he had on his team. It was a guy that you did not want to call up unless you felt like he was ready to win, and you said, let's bring up Ellie, or we feel like we're ready to win. The team was hot. When Ellie comes up, helps jolt this team. And now you just get absolutely stomped. It was a train wreck. There's no other way to put it against the Milwaukee Brewers, a team where if you could have just split the series, you're still in good control of first place in the division. Instead, you go out there and score 0 runs in 3 consecutive games. You take the lead in the final game of the series. You blow the lead after scoring a couple runs early. Could not score the rest of the series, and you barely get the double-digit hits for the series. A struggle, to say the very least. A Reds offense has been electric. A Reds offense has been one of the best in the league over the last 2 months. And you best believe, again, they have the capabilities of getting back to being in that form at some point in time. And it's, again, we was waiting for it. We've been calling for this, you know, for about a month now, with everybody saying, let's trade for a pitcher, trade for a star, trade for a star. It's like, oh, pump the brakes. There's going to come a time. And we're at that time. There's going to come a time where the Reds offense just flops on its face. All these young guys, a scouting report was going to come in, a wall was going to come, some team was going to figure something out, and this team was going to get cold. The question was going to become, how do they bounce back? Do they battle through the adversity? Do they adjust and do they get back into form? Or do they let this completely derail them and derail their season? And I think the Reds upper management, the Reds organization says, hey, we have a chance to hopefully, obviously you can just run through the tough wave and hope it bounces back up. And they say, you know what though? Let's bring a spark up here. Let's get a guy that can potentially spark this offense, and Encarnacion-Strand, a guy that can most definitely do it, just like Ellie did for a month. We get that out of Encarnacion-Strand as well, potentially jumpstart and jolt this offense a little quicker than it possibly could have gotten going again. It'd be great. And this is a guy that's more than capable of doing it. And this is, man, Cruz, McLean, Strand, Steer, if he can, you know, he was slumping there for a bit, if he can figure things out again, Friedel. For this lineup, it was already tough. You bring this guy up here, and there's a reason it's tough to find him a spot on this roster, but he's got to play every day. David, he's got to play every day. I'll say it twice. He's not Kevin Newman. Hang on a second. You know what? I take it back. I want you to think of him like Kevin Newman, David, because we know how much you love that guy. He could be Kevin Newman. You know, you can play every day. That means, but he's got to play every day. You know, you don't want to see him be a utility guy. At the same time, It's going to be interesting because, the season for, AAA season comes to an end, in is it weeks? Don't quote me on that. It comes to the end earlier than baseball season. So it's like, well, there's going to come a point in time where the growth wasn't going to happen because he was going to play. So it's like, if he can play for a couple weeks and if they platoon him, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it still. I want to see him play every day. I want to give him a chance. We'll see. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.